of Sherlock is a version of the first episode where Mycroft isn't shoe.
Yeah.
And we're back. I know it's been a while since we've actually done an episode. HBOMBERGUY. Again, my job is not to criticize based on just being insensitive or not liking your content, because again, you have decent content. My big issue with your content is it seems like you're pulling from other shows like Jekyll and Doctor Who, and you don't like his content that he made based on that, and you're comparing it to Sherlock. Sherlock is his own entity. You can't compare, even if it's similar in some ways, you can't compare the two. It wouldn't make sense to compare the two. It's like me comparing House to Sherlock. Of course they have similarities, but they're two separate entities. It's two separate shows. If I nitpick every single show and every single thing that person does because I don't like their previous work, it destroys the new work of the new show. Now, in my opinion, I could be wrong, it seems like the reason why...
You could be wrong.
I doubt I'm wrong. It seems like the reason why he's so into it is because he loves Sherlock. And again, I totally understand. I'm a huge Sherlock fan. There's countless amount of shows that I've seen that deals with Sherlock, and again, House is a really big example. Conan, again, I can go into tons and tons when it comes to that, but I totally understand it. But the book is set up, again, because I keep seem to go back and start all over on this. The book is a separate entity. The book deals directly with Sherlock in a confined space. Everyone at the point of reading the book knows exactly what's going on in it, and they can take content from that.
Sherlock is too important, too special, too powerful, and this ruins the tension of the show and our ability to empathize with the character. The entire show is dedicated to telling you about Sherlock instead of showing you Sherlock by way of his interaction with the actual plot. Season 1 was the only season that came close to getting this right, where you learned what sort of person he was and his abilities based on how he used them in the episode. As the show progresses, the actual mystery, the crimes we're supposed to have fun watching Sherlock solve, take a backseat to the show telling us how cool and wacky Sherlock is and his mind battle with Moriarty. In this episode in Season 3, there's a huge setup just for Sherlock being weird. They spend a pretty sizable portion of the runtime and budget for a quick joke about how rude and thoughtless Sherlock is while Lestrade is gearing up.
Alright, I got this one. Sherlock has always been a douche. I can't think of any version of any story or any book or any movie that Sherlock wasn't trying to show you how smart he was above you. He does that to criminals, he does that to cops, he does it to everyone. In every version or series he does this. I don't know why he's bringing it up now. I don't know why he's bringing it up on episode 3. And then he brought up a fact of,
why doesn't the story start off with him solving a crime?
You can't start off every single episode or solving a crime. It doesn't make sense. This is why I keep saying nothing he says makes sense, because it seems like he says things that just bothers my brain. I don't know. Maybe it's supposed to make sense and it doesn't. Maybe I just don't understand. I understand Sherlock.
Sherlock corrects a guy's grammar a bunch for the first 2 minutes of this episode and then walks away. This doesn't serve the story at all, except to tell us that Sherlock doesn't like when you say words wrong. Which is, an admirable character trait, obviously. Fuck that guy, he deserves to die even if he didn't do the murder. But it's really not something so pivotal as to be the start of an episode. It's a show about solving crimes. The episode should be starting with a crime, a thing happens that piques your interest, like the first 2 episodes did. But by the time of the 3rd episode, we open on Sherlock being shitty, dramatically walking out, and the credits go, and then we cut to Sherlock being shitty in his house for another 3 minutes. There's a head. Ooh, there's a head in the fridge, how wacky.
That's what Sherlock does? That is what Sherlock does, right? Yeah, it is. Why would that not make sense? Why would any of this not make sense? Keep going.
Now, this characterization isn't utterly terrible. We do have a strong sense that Sherlock is a dick, but the problem with this is that, in effect, the entire show is bent towards providing characterization for Sherlock, and making the story he's interacting with take a back seat until it becomes convenient. In the actual books, and many of the adaptations, Sherlock Holmes was not the real focal point. The mystery at hand and the other characters were equally as important, and
All right, and I do want to say this. In a way, I do understand, like I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, where he's coming from. I'm a huge fan of Superman as well, so anytime I see a Superman series, regardless if it's the original comics, illustrated issue, Smallville, I always like to criticize it and figure out what they did wrong and what they could have done better. But anytime you do manage to do something like that, you do take a lot from the series. You make it into what you want it to be, or instead of what the original creator created it out to be, or even what other people may have in their perspective of what that series could be. It's a double-ended sword, but it is what it is. Yep, let's go and watch some Smallville. No, let's not do that. Yeah, let's do that.
No, thanks, no.
Thank you for your patronage.